Hello, everybody. All right, so there we go now. All right, so I know we're getting towards the end of the week here. So tonight, of course, um, let's see, we got quite a bit to talk about. I'll mention that in a moment. Going to give people a chance to get in here while we're waiting. Of course, I'm going to turn some music on for you guys while I take care of some other business. I'll be right back. All right, so here we are again. Um, Said we're just gonna give it a few minutes, give people a chance to come and join us. So I hope everybody's had a good week this week. As I said, we're down to the last part of the week here. So I was thinking about saving this announce. I'll probably make an announcement at the end of the night here because um, we will be making a slight change to the channel, at least in terms of programming. Um, I'll bring that up at the very end there. It has more to do with the Monday through Thursday shows than anything else. All right, so with that, let's see, what time is it now? Let's see. Oh, so we're coming up on four minutes here. So, all right, so here's at least what's on tap for tonight. So we're gonna got like we have quite a bit to talk about tonight. There's gonna be three articles I'm gonna go over from Bounding into Comics. All of them pretty much from yesterday, just in regards to some anime releases. Hey JR, how you doing, man? Glad to see you're here. Um, so um, anyways, first off, of course, if you guys can like and share the stream, so everyone gets more friendly people in here, that'd be great. Hopefully, we can get some good conversation going. Also, if anything here that I talk about grabs your attention, feel free to uh, comment and or ask questions. I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Now, as I mentioned, of course, we'll be going over three articles from Bounding into Comics, basically in regards to some upcoming releases coming out soon, anime wise. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about a situation that happened that's been going around the news today in regards to um, a kid in a Pokemon trading card game tournament. Also, of course, the wrestling wrap up, and then this day needs history. So that's pretty much what we got planned for tonight. And I will have a bit of an announcement at the end here. As I said, if you haven't already, if you can help me out by liking and sharing the stream and see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be great. And also, if anything here that we mention grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the articles here. Let me see now. All right, so here's going to be the first article we're going to get into here. Alrighty then. So, Kadokawa announces long-awaited third season of Regarding Zero, Starting Life in Another World anime adaptation. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published yesterday, the 29th. All right, so after having stayed silent on the matter for two long years, now I currently am finishing up watching season 1, and yeah, the seasons have been split up, every couple of years here. Season 1 came out back in 2016, and then it wasn't until like I think 2020 or 2021 that season 2 of this series came out. Now, of course, we're getting season 3, but let's see. Kadokawa rang in the anniversary of the series' second season conclusion with the confirmation that a third season of the beloved isekai Regarding Zero, Starting Life in Another World is officially well, I think they forgot to put it in officially in production. Isekai just simply means where you get basically transported to another world. That's what the it's a realm of the fantasy type story in which a main character gets transferred into another world. Let's see here now. Speaking of Pokemon, will we discuss Chris Chan being bailed out of jail? No, I don't. Not completely sure who. Well, I guess I do kind of know Chris Chan is. I don't really talk about that stuff. I don't really talk about like other YouTubers too much. Aside from the fact that aside from the ones that I get some of my material from, like Yellow Flash, I'll make references to him or to like Vera Dark or Hirohei or whoever I may happen to get some of my news stories from. But other than that, I don't get into all the little drama in between all the different YouTubers and all that. I just focus on niche topics. Comics, anime, manga, pro wrestling, that kind of thing. The fun stuff. I don't really focus too much on the drama. I will give legitimate criticism on certain things where needed, but aside from that, I don't really get too much into the drama. Fans long wait for a return to the world of Taipei finally came to an end on March 25th, which that was last Saturday, I believe, when the first trailer for Regarding Zero's third season debuted at Anime Japan 2023. Adapted from the fantasy drama light novels of Taipei Nagatsuki, Regarding Zeros, and it looks like somebody did a typo there, put a D in there instead of, or is it? No, that is a D. Second season concluded with the anime's take on Arc 4, The Everlasting Contract. Based on both this and the trailer released, it appears the series' upcoming third season will pick right back up where the last left off, with Arc 5 the stars that engrave history. So yeah, it looks like you got some characters there. Let's see. Natsuki, Subaru, Amelia, Beatrice, Otto, and Garfield in regarding. Yeah. Huh. In the Stars That Engrave History arc, Anastasia Hoshin um, invites Amelia, Priscilla, Crush, and Felt to the Watergate city of Pristella for a gathering of the various camps participating in the royal selection. But not long after the camps arrived, the Sin archbishops of the notorious witch cult appears and seizes control of the city. As such, Natsuki Subaru and his comrades take it upon themselves to not only save Pristella, but also prevent the Sin Archbishop of Greed, Regulus Cornelius, um, from forcing Amelia to marry him. In the comments in the comments to the 33rd volume of the light novel, Taipei expressed excitement toward the season three's announcement, declaring, translated via lorem ipsum verb, quote, born in 1987 is a man who is blessed with happiness for the third time in his life. The third season of Regarding Zero anime was announced. Unquote. Quote, I apologize for all waiting for so long while you were all saying, quote, more, unquote. He playfully added, quote, we're going to be able to see Subaru and everyone else moving about, talking, singing, dancing, and sometimes dying once again in the anime. Makes me full of emotion as an author. Unquote. Yeah, I'm right now watching the first season. Be watching the second season pretty soon here. It is a pretty interesting anime, to say the least. Subaru is another one of those characters who, yeah, initially comes off kind of as a loser, but yet finds a way to rally people behind him. Much in the same vein as like Naruto or Yusuke or Meshi or a few other characters like that. Um, yeah. So, anyways, all right. The artist for Tappei's light novels, Shinichiro Otsuka, um, commemorated the anime's return with an original illustration depicting Subaru holding Amelia, with Beatrice holding onto his neck, set against a background of various numerous um, regarding Zero characters. As of writing, a production team and release date for Regarding Zero, Starting Life in Another World, Season 3, have yet to be confirmed. So, yeah. So basically, they're still. Look at that! The guy's got Amelia in his arms there. You see many of the other characters in the background there. I can see these people smiling. uh, a pretty bunch when they can let down their guard. No. So, anyways, all right. So there we go with that one. We're coming up on 15 minutes here. All right, so we're on to the next article then. Of course, is another announcement for an anime coming up. All right, Trigun Stampede in smaller quotes announces quote unquote final phase, teases return of fan favorite Millie Thompson. And I remember Millie Thompson, the original Trigun series, is voiced by Leah Sargent, I believe, who provided Leah Sargent provided the English voice for the dub, who also did the English voice for R. Dorothy Wainwright in Big O. Article by Nerdigans published yesterday. Through the action-packed first season of the gun-slinging Trigun Stampede anime has come to a close. Though the action-packed first season of the gun-slinging Trigun Stampede anime has come to a close, seeing Studio Orange, not yet finished, with the humanoid typhoon as the CGI animation studio powerhouse has announced that they are shifting production to Maximum for Trigun Stampede's final phase. Following the gunslinging finale of the series' first outing, the anime's official Twitter account issued a bounty for a second season of Trigun Stampede. With the first season being based on Yasuhiro Naito's eponymous and classic space western manga, the second season, deemed the final phase by the aforementioned Twitter account, is set to be Studio Orange's adaptation of Naito's sequel series, Trigun Maximum. Wanted Vash a Stampede. Of course, in English, as some of you may know, Vash in the original Trigun series, Johnny Young Bosch provided his English voice, and they actually brought him back for this series as well. So, further, it seems the announcement of season 2 is already faring better amongst fans than that of its predecessor, due in large part to the fact that the first season finale saw both the return of Vash's classic hairstyle, but also thanks to his being blamed for the final blast in his clash with Knives. I think Knives might be his brother or something, which effectively killed 90% of the city of July's population. His bounty being raised to its trademark $60 billion. Yet, perhaps more than this, what has Trigun fans trigger happy was the confirmation that the original anime's beloved brunette Ditch will be making her debut in season 2. Millie Thompson, as I said, who is in the original anime voiced by Leah, the English voice actress to provide the voice in the English dub for Millie was Leah Sargent. In an epilogue taking 2 years after Vash and Knives' climactic battle, Meryl Strife returns to July to pay her respects to those who died. Shortly thereafter, she receives a phone call from the Bernardelli Insurance Society, ordering her to return to headquarters so they can assign her a weird newbie who specifically requested to work under her, named Millie Thompson. Now, in the original, Meryl's English voice was provided by Dorothy Elias Fain. I don't remember off the top of my head, because aside from Johnny Young Bosch, I think all of the characters, since for the most part, I think, well, I don't know what they actually call their studio now, but the studio formerly known as Crunchy or as Funimation, I don't know if it's Crunchyroll Studios or whatever, but basically the Dallas-based voice actors are the ones who are doing this, and with the exception of Johnny Young Bosch coming back as Vash, all of the characters were recast with Dallas-based voice actors. So, and that'll probably be the same with Millie. They'll probably cast one of the Dallas-based voice actors to provide her English voice instead of bringing back Leah Sargent. Albeit, Leah Sargent has not actually been as active on the as a voice actress. I think she eventually turned more to like ADR work or even directing, because I haven't heard her having any credits in recent years. But anyways, continuing on with the article here. With the addition of Trigun Maximum, manga characters Erix and Lena making their anime debut in the season finale, looks like Orange is setting up the series' quote-unquote final phase to be a must-watch for any fan of the franchise. As of writing, Studio Orange has yet to reveal either a release date or episode count for the Vash's return. Meanwhile, Crunchyroll has already confirmed that when he does, they will be providing same-day simulcast. So that's interesting too. Same-day simulcast for Trigun Stampede. Let's see now. As I said, I know that as I said, the voice Jeremy Inman is the voice director and Dallas Reed's assistant. Crunchyroll. Okay, so now it's under Crunchyroll's banner. Sarah Roach is providing the voice of Meryl Streep in this particular version of with Dave Matranga providing the voice of Wolfwood, taking over so basically. So it's basically the like I said, the Dallas-based voice actors that were providing the voices for Trigun Stampede. Johnny Young Bosch is the only one from the original series to be reprising his role. Hey Woody, I see you there. Hey JR, long time no see. I am unfamiliar with the Fenichu phenomenon, but one must admit he loves his mother. Oh boy. Yeah. Anyways, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I will try to answer the questions too. That's nice to see you, Mike. Yep. Thank you, Woody. Anyways, let's continue on with the article here. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So that's actually the finish of that one, that article. So let's get ready to go back to now this is the last article. Will probably be I might. Let's see. I have to see where we're at on time here. Now here's a comic book article here, which when you see this, probably shouldn't really surprise anybody, considering what we've been hearing about this. And I know Yellow Flash will probably be talking about it. Well, I think he already talked about it recently. But, anyways, DC cancels Batgirls and Robin book that ran with gay bisexual Tim Drake. Yeah, I know Yellow Flash actually did talk about that recently. Now, I guess Bounding into Comics finally put out an article on it. So, article by J.B. Augustine published yesterday. So, the book that promoted Tim Drake as a young gay man in love with his best friend is coming to an end. Tim Drake Rebirth's 10th issue will be the last. Debuting last September and written by Megan Fitzmartin, the book was held up as momentous breakthrough for representation in comics. Yeah, I actually was. Well, let me finish this paragraph. And DC put on a face of high hopes for it. Now, I actually was watching Chuck Dixon's Ask Chuck Dixon, most recent Ask Chuck Dixon episode earlier today, and even he was talking about how this is kind of ridiculous because there's always been diversity in comics. They don't need to go to these links to to push this stuff. But anyways, the problem we and most acknowledge is the publisher and Fitzmartin took an established character again with a history of girlfriends and completely retconned his sexuality based on what happened in an Elseworld story that was non-canon. They did the same thing to Tim's quote-unquote boyfriend, Bernard, and the Golden Age Green Lantern, Alan Scott, well before either of them. The agenda that these comics push is widely known and fairly clear. But agenda or not, the shrinking skeleton crew at DC thought Tim Drake Robin was going to net them more readers. Wrong! Yeah. Usually most of these SJWs don't actually buy the comics or don't even bother to read them. They just say, well, no, you have to put them in comic books anyways for those who do buy them to read them. We want you to shove this down their throats. Yeah, that really works well for people. Let's see. I steal the mother reference from the old Tom Lehrer song Oedipus Rex. Well, and I'm sure that song is based on the old theme Oedipus Rex, or the old story Oedipus Rex. Mike, I found a pile of maybe 20 old 20-cent comic books I stuck in a box a long time ago. Wow, that's cool, Woody. That should give you some material to refresh your memory with. That sounds pretty cool there. Hope you enjoy those. All right. So, anyways, getting back to the article. Let's see. Let's see. Where were we? Okay. They were wrong, although some are calling it a quote-unquote fan favorite, while it draws closer to cancellation, which will come to pass in June. Yeah, the only people calling it a fan favorite are the delusional ones who actually think people want to buy this type of book and have this agenda shoved down their throats. That's the only people who think this is a fan favorite. Yeah, it's a favorite among the screechers because they're they're trying to force an agenda down your throat. But per DC's monthly solicitations, the summer has a big quote unquote series finale in store, and that is the primary indicator. Tim Drake Robin is done as of issue number 10. The other is Martin's tweet of confirmation, quote, "It has been an incredible privilege to tell Tim Drake's story, your interpretation of it anyways," unquote, she posted in a long message that puts over her time revamping said story. Quote, but more than anything, I hope Timothy Jackson Drake's journey has inspired you to tell your own story, unquote. She added on top of promising, quote, "There are some exciting things coming up," unquote, next in her career. For now, however, the one thing anyone could possibly be watching is Fitzmartin's run on Robin winding down over the next 2 months. Let's see. Hey, JR. Huh. Maybe I can sell them to RJ for a pitcher of beer. You can ask him tomorrow night when he comes on to co-host the historical comic wrestling. Perhaps a pitcher of beer. Hey, Woody. Well, maybe you can ask him that. As I said, Woody, you can probably ask RJ that tomorrow night when he comes to co-host the historical comic retrospect. Anyways, getting back to the article here. Out June 23rd, Tim Drake Robin number 10 features art and a main cover by Nicola Shimeja and words by Fitzmartin. There will be two variant covers offered, one by Gleb Melankoff and a DC Pride variant by Travis Moore. Of course, they need a DC Pride variant. Furthermore, just trying to shove their agenda down your throat as much as they possibly can before the book goes bye-bye. The 10 synopsis reveals Batwoman makes a guest appearance to help Tim. It reads, Robin and Batwoman are trapped in the lair of the Chaos Monsters, unquote. Batgirls, the book by Betty Cloonan and Michael Conrad, that put Barbara Gordon in a mentor-mentee relationship with Cassandra Cain, is also reaching its end in June with issue number 19 in their final confrontation with Gun Bunny and Gunhawk, says the solicitation. Cassie and Barbara stand together and march with the people of the Hill to prove Gothamites overcome darkness when they have each other. We're not making that up and wonder about your reaction. Comment below. Marching. Yeah, that's really what makes comics work, right? Marching. Yeah, we no hand to hand combat, no big action scenes. No, we have to march. That's what makes comics, right? That's what makes comics. Many of us would say, no. Like, no, hell no, and oh, hell no. I enjoy the Odyssey stuff, Jr. All right, so with that, let me see. I should probably at least try to go back and see if there are any more interesting stories we can probably do. If not, then I'll go on to the next thing I was gonna talk about here. Let's see. Okay, anything else came up particularly today? Yep, nothing there, nothing. All right, so yeah, there's nothing really more on that. So, all right. So, anyways, let's see where are we at on time here. Let's see. All right, let's see. You guys have let's see, 36 minutes. So, Odyssey stuff. Do Odyssey tubers cover Christian? I haven't heard anything about Chris except his listing is bailed out. Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot of information on him in a while. But that's to be expected. I know Yellow Flash and I think Nick Rekieta both use Odyssey. Let's see. Some people have a talent for selecting memes. Let's see. Rekieta seems up with it. Pete's up with it. Um, Lit meaning the drama itself, not Zer. All right. Well, anyways, let me just do something here. All right, set that up for for when we. All right. So, one more story, of course, I want to talk about here. And again, if you guys can help me out by liking and sharing the stream and seeing if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be great. Also, if anything I talk about or mention here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, there is one other story, even though there's no article attached to it, that came out today that got my interest. I know Yellow Flash is covering it, as well as Vera Dark and Hero Hey. So there was a Pokemon trading card tournament going on recently in which one of the contestants or one of the participants in the tournament was actually disqualified and thrown out of the convention for laughing about because he had a nervous laugh because of he because he was asked about his pronouns. Okay, so when I saw Yellow Flash talking about this, of course, I was like, this is so stupid. But here's the situation. So there was this teenager who was participating in a Pokemon tournament, Pokemon trading card tournament. He had spent quite a bit of money in terms of, you know, in terms of getting to the tournament, hotel room, all that, and apparently there were so what happened was before he even got started, one of the judges went up to him and um, asked him what his pronouns were, and in kind of a very nervous manner, even laughing a little bit, he goes, he, him, and I can't think of the third word. Oh, his. Now the thing was, he laughed at it, and then the judge responded. Now this is an adult judge, mind you. Okay? The adult judge goes, okay, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. You know, kid was nervous enough as it is, and this judge is sitting there, asking him about his pronouns. Like that really, first off, like that makes any real difference. Thanks, Woody. We'll check out Ricada. So anyways, so so later, as this, and apparently this kid was this kid was apparently looking for, I guess he's looking to do this professionally, to go on these tournament circuits more professionally and become like a trading card game master, I guess. But at one point, the head judge pulled him and his opponent off of this one table, because at that one table their match was gonna actually be live streamed on the Pokemon channel. Their match is gonna be live streamed on the Pokemon channel, and I think it's on the Pokemon YouTube channel, or one of the streaming channels that Pokemon would use. And they were pulled aside. That the head judge asked him, "Hey, what happened here?" And then after that, the head judge kind of notified him that he was being disqualified because he made the judge who originally asked him about his pronouns, he made him feel uncomfortable. Just for, and he wasn't laughing at, now the judge who asked him about his pronouns came out and said, well, yeah, I identify as they, them, and, but you don't have to be a jerk about it, but you got the kid disqualified for laughing at his own pronouns. The kid was nervous, when it's, I'm sure we've all had that experience when somebody asks you something that is you feel or feel maybe considered somewhat inappropriate, like asking somebody what their pronouns is, for example, and that some people will have kind of the reaction of like, yeah, anyway. Yeah, I'm a guy, by the way. He wasn't even laughing at the other guy, claiming he was they, them. He was laughing at his own, laughing at, he was nervous. He was laughing at the fact that he couldn't think of the other word. Had nothing, according to the article that Yellow Flash was reading from, had nothing to do with anything against the judge or anything, but the judge decided to take offense to it and get the kid disqualified. The head judge was saying how it was supposedly against Pokemon policy. In other words, it's more for a lot of these people, it's more important to cater to the judges than the contestants. Contestants who, and there was a GoFundMe set up for the kid to reimburse him for his expenditures. From what I understand, they have exceeded the amount. And there's call to have this judge who had this kid disqualified, basically kept from judging anymore. Anyways, male conservatives are totally missing the point and the possibilities of the trans movement. White women are 80% of law students, of doctors, of civil servants. 90% are teachers. White women receive 80% of government budgets. Trans, whoa. All right. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing to me, JR, just sounds incredibly stupid. All right. I don't even think the kid was even trying to be trans women could reverse that. Um Plus I don't even know if the judge identified as, they just simply said they were they them. In other words, a lot of these people just don't, they like to call themselves non, in other words, they don't like being restricted to one or the other gender, even though it was already determined when they were born, you know. So the whole thing was stupid. um and let's see. Again, the point of politics is money and power. Yeah, I would agree with that. A lot of that, you know, but that's why we got to vote for more, white conservatives to keep, if anything, we need Trump to win in 2024 to continue to clean out the swamp. Okay? If you really want to get our country back to its foundational principles and all that, Trump needs to win in 2024. We gotta stop. We gotta stop these witch hunts against him, against other conservatives. We gotta we gotta fight back. We can't let these people, slowly kill us off. But anyways, I didn't necessarily want to get too much into the for the first time since the 1960s, men or trans women are taking power from women. Yeah. So, anyways, but that's basically the gist of it. It was a pretty stupid situation, but kid was at least reimbursed because the kid people set up a GoFundMe for him, so he was actually reimbursed for his expenditures. But it's still bad. I mean, that judge should not be allowed to judge another competition. Or maybe what we need to do is we need to find some people to start operating these that are not, that far left. Wouldn't do that. But trans women are taking power and money from women. God bless every one of they them. Yeah. Again, according to the article, they just simply said they them. They didn't necessarily say they were a trans woman or a trans man or anything like that. Just said they them. So, let's see now. 48, 50, so 49 minutes. I'm gonna try and look up. Maybe I'll try to look up. Let's see if there's anything over on Bleeding Fool that maybe catch our attention here. Oh yeah, more of the same stuff. So yeah, so I guess not then. All right, so aside from politics here, let's get back to some niche talk. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before I start heading over to do the wrestling wrap up here? Um, you know, um, just simply because it's still like 10 minutes before I want to start doing the wrestling wrap up here. We do have quite a. I might even start a little early here because we do have quite a bit of stuff to go over on the wrestling with the wrestling wrap up here. A lot of, of course, yeah, I might as well just go ahead and just start now because basically we do have quite a bit of stuff going on the wrestling end of things. Most notably, of course, this weekend is WrestleMania weekend, and a number of companies had some Impact and Ring of Honor. Impact has a pay-per-view going on tonight. Multiverse United, the Only the Strong Survive, co-promoted with New Japan. Tomorrow night, Ring of Honor will be having a Supercard of Honor event. WWE will be having their Hall of Fame event. So let's see. First off, on the WWE side of things, so I haven't heard anything new on this aside from so there's 4. They were hoping to maybe induct 5 people into the WWE Hall of Fame this year, in which so the 4 that had been confirmed up to this point are Rey Mysterio Jr., Great Muta, Andy Kaufman, and Stacy Keibler. They will be inducted. They may be looking to add one more name to that because I've heard that they were wanting to do 5 names. It was also announced that Vince McMahon will be at this weekend's WrestleMania. There's some concern that he's slowly but surely trying to take back power and creative. People have thought that some of the bookings of late have indicated he's had at least some little bit more say than people would like or are comfortable with him having. And also the WrestleMania, so the lineups for the 2 nights of WrestleMania have been nailed down. They have fully decided who's going to be wrestling on what night, and and who's going to be in the main event on each night. So we can kind of go over that right now. As all right, let's try this again. All right. Anyways, let's see. We know. All right, so from Inglewood, California, on Saturday, at the SoFi Center. So night 1 for WrestleMania, which will be Saturday, April the 1st. The show will open with Austin Theory defending the WWE United States title against John Cena. Then the battle of father and son with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Rey, of course, coming off of his Hall of Fame induction the night before. Then for the undisputed tag team championships, the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles, the Usos are defending against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then in a fatal 4-way tag team match, you have Braun Strowman and Ricochet teaming up against the Viking Raiders, again, and also going up against the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. Seth Rollins is going to be taking on Logan Paul in a 6-woman tag team match. You have the WWE Women's Tag Team title tag team champions Becky Lynch and Lita teaming up with Trish Stratus to take on Damage Control of Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. And then main eventing night 1 will be Charlotte Flair defending the SmackDown Women's title against Rhea Ripley. Let's see. And I can see the Great Muta. Yeah, he's being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, even though he never actually wrestled in the WWE. Okay, part of his connection is from a match he had with Hogan on a SWS show back in the '90s or something like that. I kind of quit following very much wrestling after the WWE WWF ate the WCW. Yeah, well, I mean, the initial mix-up had to be seen, but the subsequent dismantling, yeah. Anyways, continuing on here. So that's night what those that's what's happening on night one. So now we talk about what's going to happen for night two at WrestleMania. On night two, and I believe this will actually, well, let's see. Night two will have the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match on the women's side of it, in which there'll be Natalia and Shotzi going up against Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, going up against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, going up against Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Now, Triple H has a lot of big plans for Rodriguez. So we'll have to wait and see. Gunther defends the Intercontinental title in a triple threat match against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Edge will be taking on Finn Balor and Hell in a Cell. There's a rumor going around too that we will see the return of Gangrel at night, and that Edge will be coming out in his Brood persona, while Finn Balor is coming out with his Demon persona. Brock Lesnar is taking on Omos. For the Raw Women's title, Bianca Belair will be taking on Asuka, and in the main event for Sunday, it will be Roman Reigns defending the WWE and Universal title against Cody Rhodes. It's rumored that Rhodes possibly will win the title this time around. So, anyways, I do need to step away from the computer for a quick moment to make some lighting adjustments. I'll be right back. I'll put some music on while I'm gone for you guys. All right, I'm back, and I do see there were some comments here. Kind of get caught up on those. Let's see. McMahon should acknowledge WCW wrestlers since his company did eat that company. Well, they already have, believe it or not. Well, remember, Muta, was known, for the work he did stateside. He's known for his time in WCW in '89, in '88, '89, around there. Known for his rivalry with Sting. Also did some work, of course, in NWA Florida. I think Sting may have already been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. So they have done that, Woody. And of course, Abdullah the Butcher, who again was another guy who never really did anything with the WWE, is also inducted. In fact, that caused some controversy because even Billy Graham, superstar Billy Graham, said, "No, well, take me out of the Hall of Fame then. I don't want to be in there with that guy. That guy's a vicious son of a." Glad he's doing so. Let's see. I think I saw a Muta once appearing in a Greensboro match, but he's not a WCW wrestler. It was just a tour. Well, yeah, he wasn't somebody who was a mainstay with WCW, but he did come in at times, through some of the working agreements WCW had with New Japan. he did have a bit more of a run in '89, going up against Sting, and there was in '89 there was of course a rivalry that Muta and Sting had, of course, over the television title. That was also around the same time that Flair was feuding with Funk before while Arn and Tully were in the WWE as the Brainbusters. So there wasn't Horseman. Flair was the face at the time, so I always get to see the stars when they're injured, but it was still great seeing Terry Funk work with a broken tailbone and an enthusiastic jobber. Yeah. So, anyways, so that's as much about the WWE stuff we can talk about. Let me kind of get you guys caught up on what happened on AEW last night, because there were some interesting things that were going on in All Elite last night on Dynamite. Um, let's see. Jack Perry defeated Matt Hardy. Um, the Blackpool Combat Club defeated Dalton Castle and the Boys in 48 seconds. And basically, and I'll explain a little something else that happened in a moment here. Kenny Omega retained the IWGP United States Heavyweight title over Jeff Cobb. Now, Jeff Cobb has a busy couple, he was in at Chaffetz Arena in St. Louis last night for the AEW show. He's going to be here in LA tonight, taking on Moose at the Multiverse United show, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. The co-promotion done by Impact Wrestling and now after the match, the Blackpool Combat Club of Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta came out to attack Omega again. And Bryan Danielson had initially come out seemingly looking to save Omega. But what ended up happening instead was he started beating on Omega, basically cementing the heel turn for the Blackpool Combat Club. They with Danielson's return after his time off after his program with MJF, the Blackpool Combat Club are now fully officially heels. Orange Cassidy retained the international AEW International title over the Butcher. Ruby Soho defeated Will Nightingale, and in his return from injury, Adam Cole defeated Daniel Garcia. Now, some commentators have criticized that maybe AEW should have booked a stronger show here. Just simply because this is WrestleMania week, and there are a lot of people who will be wanting to get as much wrestling in as possible. So this show is probably not looked at as being as strong as it could have been, maybe should have been. And there's some criticism, especially when you got, now granted, Tony Khan, who owns AEW, also owns Ring of Honor, could have also used this show a little bit to build up Friday night's Ring of Honor pay-per-view as well. Let's see. It looks like Woody, doing them as the Brainbusters with Heenan was a stroke of genius. As much as I hate McMahon, you have to hand it to him sometimes. Well, yeah, I think, especially as time went on later, particularly with the Attitude Era, Arn and Tully were okay. Well, Tully was good on the mic. Arn was okay, but Arn, many times when they talk about the Four Horsemen, right? Throughout, particularly some of their, so the first incarnation of the Horsemen was Ric Flair, the Andersons and Lex Luger. Or no, I'm sorry, the Andersons and Tully Blanchard. Tully Blanchard was the secondary guy. He was the guy who was usually going after, like, the television title or the United States title. Flair was your main eventer, and then Arn and Ole were your tag team specialist. Arn, Flair was the flashy guy. Flair was the guy, who'd be on the party scene. He'd be like all the flash. He'd have all the girls around him. Tully was kind of like that too. And then you had Ole and Arn, who were a little bit more the blue collar guys. The guys who were like, they were the grunts of the group, and then as Ole, as his career started winding down, and he wanted to start spending more time with the kids, it eventually kicked out of the group, and like Luger was kind of brought in. Tully and Arn started teaming together, but Arn was always kind of the guy who would be more likely to sit at the end of the bar just drinking his beer, than really partying it up or trying to having the 10, 15 girls all around him. He was more content being kind of the so he was still a good promo guy, but just not what WWE was looking for. So that's why they put him, the brain, and having Bobby Heenan lead them and be their mouthpiece. Because as workers, of course, Arn and Tully were very good as workers. They could put guys over, and in the ring they were a very solid tag team. They just weren't quite as dynamic. Well, Arn at least wasn't. Tully was still fairly dynamic, but Arn wasn't known as much for being as dynamic. So, anyways, getting back to AEW, and I think we did talk about all that. And of course, as we said, I said tonight, Impact Wrestling has quite a night ahead of them. They had a live Impact show on tonight from LA, as well as and they have the Multiverse United show going on, and I'll probably talk more about this. I'll probably talk more about the results on Monday, and I'll be making an announcement on that in a moment here. Some changes to the show coming. Let's see. Let me see. So tonight's show from the Globe Theater in Los Angeles on Fight TV, there will be Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Multiverse United, Only the Strong Survive. On the match, you have Kushida taking on Lio Rush. Now, Kushida was originally going to be challenging Josh Alexander for the Impact World title, but Alexander suffered a torn tricep and is out injured, was actually forced to relinquish the Impact World title, setting up a match between Kushida and Steve Maclin at Rebellion. Maclin was originally going to be taking on Josh Alexander at Rebellion if, of course, he had survived the title defenses he had going into Rebellion. But Kushida now will be taking on Lio Rush. In an 8-man tag team match, Alex Coughlin, Callahan, Fred Rosser, who some of you might remember as Darren Young from WWE, and PCO, Pierre-Carl Roulette. Some of you might remember him as Pierre from the Quebecers, or the Amazing French Canadians. Let's see. They will be teaming up as a foursome to take on the tag team of Team Filthy of JR Kratos and Tom Lawler, Eddie Edwards, and Impact Digital Media Champion Joe Hendry. So you have a face and a heel on one team there. Okay, you have kind of that situation in both camps. Mike Bailey, the former X Division champion, takes on Hiroshi Tanahashi. As I mentioned earlier, Jeff Cobb will be taking on Moose, coming off, of course, of his attempt at gaining the IWGP United States. So he was in St. Louis last night for Dynamite. Now is out in LA here tonight. In a 6-man match for the X Division title, the champion Trey Miguel defends against Rocky Romero, Frankie Kazarian, Rich Swann, Clark Connors, and Kevin Knight. In a 4-way match for the Impact World Tag Team Championships, champions the Bullet Club of Ace Austin and Chris Bay take on former champs the Motor City Machine Guns of Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Aussie Open of Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, who will be at the Supercard of Honor tomorrow, participating in the Reach for the Sky ladder match for the vacated Ring of Honor World Tag titles. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. And also versus TMDK of Bad Dude Tito and Shane Hayes. Kenta, the NJPW Strong Openweight champion, will be defending his title against Minoru Suzuki. In a 4-way match, you have Miyu Yamashita taking on Diono Purrazzo, taking on Giselle Shaw, taking on Masha Slamovich in a 4-way match. So that's all going on tonight. I missed the Ole Anderson years. I was busy programming Well, Ole Anderson. Okay, real name Alan Rogowski. Ole has had a career that started back in the mid to late 60s and went into the mid 80s. He had by the early 70s he had replaced Lars Anderson, and he had basically replaced Larry Hyniemi as an Anderson brother, teaming up with Gene Anderson. He and Gene were a very successful tag team in the early 70s there, multiple time Georgia tag team champions and Mid-Atlantic tag team champions as well. He actually by the end of the 70s into the early 80s, he'd become a booker as well as a talent in Georgia. Let's see. Oh, are you talking about the Rougeaus? Well, when I was talking about Pierre Carl Ouellet, right? Pierre Carl Ouellet actually ended up replacing Raymond Rougeau in the Rougeaus, but they changed their name to the Quebecers. Okay. Ray had ended his career, I think, by 89 or so, and then when Jock had, of course, taken on the Mountie gimmick, and then they decided to pair him up with Pierre Ouellet or Carl Ouellet. That guy. Think about this: Pierre Carl Ouellet, 30 years ago was a WWF World Tag Team Champion with Jacques Rougeau on 2 occasions, from 92 to 93, right? He's still around. He's wrestling for Impact right now. So, okay. I thought we were still talking history there. Must be some new Canadian. No. Okay, so I was talking about the kayfabe Anderson family. Okay, Gene Anderson had teamed with Lars Anderson, whose real name was Larry Heiniemi. They were a pretty strong team in the 60s. And then as the 60s turned to the 70s, Al Rogowski had replaced Larry Heiniemi as Gene Anderson's partner, taking on the name Ole Anderson. And throughout the 70s, they had actually become quite a formidable team in their own right. And they had, I think, continued to team well into the late 70s there. Gene eventually retired from as a competitor, as an in-ring competitor in 81, I believe. Ole, by the late 70s, had also started doing work for Georgia as a booker. So that was that. And then when I was talking about Call Roulette, I've already explained all that. So with that, we still have a little bit more to talk about in terms. So, and I told you about what's happening tonight. So tomorrow night, Ring of Honor will be holding its Super Card of Honor from the Galen Center on the campus of USC. I'll go over that card. And again, interesting as Jeff Cobb came off of two, of appearance in AEW, and then now in Impact. Now you'll have Aussie Open doing one show for Impact, and then doing the show for Ring of Honor. So for tomorrow night's Ring of Honor event, which will be broadcast on Bleacher Report. The Embassy of Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony of Bishop Khan and Toa Leona, with Prince Nana in their corner, will be defending the World Six-Man Tag Team titles against AR Fox, Blake Christian, Metallic. Wheeler Yuta defends the Pure title against Katsuyori Shibata. So they're bringing in some New Japan talent as well. Athena defends the Women's World title against Yuka Sakazaki. This particular match was set up on AEW's YouTube programs of Dark and Elevation, where Athena has been abusing her position as champion, attacking wrestlers after she's defeated them after the matches. Classic heel stuff. Sakazaki is the one stepping up right here to take her on. And as I said, a Reach for the Sky ladder match for the vacated Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. You have AEW's Top Flight of the Martin brothers, Dante and Darius Martin. The Kingdom's Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. The Lucha Brothers of Ray Fenix and Penta El Zero Miedo. Aussie Open, who is involved in tonight's Multiverse United card. Aussie Open of Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. And Ring of Honor's version of La Facción Ingobernable of Drastico and Rush. I guess this match was just added. Daniel Garcia will be taking on former Pure Champion Daniel Garcia will be taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi. El Hijo del Vikingo, who recently had the dream match last week, in fact, with Kenny Omega, will be defending the AAA Mega title against Commander. Both these guys made recent appearances on Dynamite AEW programming. Samoa Joe defends the World Television Championship against Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, who coming into this was the World Tag Team title holder, having to vacate the title due to the passing of his brother Jay back in January. And in the main event sees for the Ring of Honor World title, Claudio Castagnoli defending against Eddie Kingston in a match they said has been 15 years in the making. As the two of them had a huge rivalry, particularly in Chikara, back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, before Claudio went on to the WWF or WWE. Let's see. That was back when my local TV stations only had AWA, not NW. Well, early in his career, in the mid to late 60s, in fact, I think even in 70, as late as 71, Ole was actually in the AWA. I think in 71, he was actually the AWA Midwest heavyweight champion. Of course, not as Ole Anderson, but under his real name of Al Rogowski. Or I think he actually went by the name Rock Rogowski, I believe. Let's see. By the time we got a few more UHF channels, I was in high school and too late to hook me. They were very humorous, and I enjoyed seeing them on the mic every time. All right, bring it back. I lost track of when Louisos were working. Okay. So anyways, so we basically went through everything. Guess I went through everything on the wrestling side of it. So big weekend in the world of wrestling this weekend. So I guess it was a good thing I started a little earlier then. We're now coming up on an hour 22. I think it's a good time to start wrapping up. I thank you guys for being here. I'll make one final announcement after So now, Woody, here's one of your favorite parts of the show. Today being Thursday, March 30th, 2023. It's time to take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. Nietzsche! So let me just 93, 2003, 2013, and 83. Okay. So without any further ado, let's go back and start and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. So first off, we're going to head back 40 years. We'll go back 40 years ago today. As on this date, 40 years ago today, Toei Animation's Lightspeed Electroid Albagas premiered on TV Tokyo at the time known as Megaton on this date back in 1983. It ran for almost a full year, 45 episodes. So on this date back in 1983, 40 years ago today, Toei Animation's Lightspeed Electroid Albagas premiered on the Megaton network, which eventually became TV Tokyo. So there we go with that one. Also, on this date 30 years ago, as soon as I pull that up, on this date 30 years ago today, Marvel Comics NOM number 80 went on sale on this date back in 1993. 30 years ago today, Marvel's NOM 80 number 80 went on sale on this date back in 1993. Story was House to House, written by Don Lomax, with art by Wayne Van Sant, lettering done by Philip Hugh Felix, coloring by John Callis. So there we go with that one. Now moving on to 2003, 20 years ago today, as on this date 20 years ago today, Speaking of course, WrestleMania 19 was held on this date back in 2003, 20 years ago today. This was a WrestleMania that saw. Oh wait, I believe this was the WrestleMania that saw. They had the WrestleMania from the from Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington. This was the WrestleMania that saw Steve Austin's last match for a number of years there. The Rock would defeat Stone Cold Steve Austin there. So this was his last match for a number of years, basically. It in essence had retired due to his neck issues. The main event saw Brock Lesnar defeat Kurt Angle to win the WWE Championship. Hulk Hogan defeated Vince McMahon in a street fight on this date 20 years ago. Triple H defeated Booker T to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. This was a very controversial program at the time because this was a particular program between Triple H and Booker T where they were really playing up Triple H as being somewhat of a racist, making, saying things in certain ways that kind of gave you idea that he was maybe being a racist. So that happened 20 years ago today. Let's see, Stacy Keibler, the Hall of Fame bound Stacy Keibler tomorrow night, and Tori Wilson had a pillow fight with the Miller Lite Catfight Girls, Katana Baker and Tanya Ballinger. Of course, I guess no result happened. I guess Shawn Michaels defeated Chris Jericho. Team Angle, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, who at the time were, of course, were teaming up with Kurt Angle. Angle was acting more as a mentor. Defeated Los Guerreros of the late Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Chris Benoit and Rhino in a triple threat tag team match to retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. Trish Stratus defeated Victoria and Jazz to become the women's champion. Undertaker, with Nathan Jones in his corner, defeated Big Show and A-Train in a handicap match. Matt Hardy defeated Rey Mysterio to retain the WWE Cruiserweight title. And in the Sunday Night Heat pre-show match, Lance Storm and Chief Morley defeated Kane and Rob Van Dam to retain the World Tag Team Championships. So there we go with that one. Yep, Neat. Yep, I told you I knew it was your favorite portion of the show. Good to see that you held on there. And finally, we're going to go back 10 years ago today. And on this date, 10 years ago, Cartoon Network Studios' The Problem Solvers would finish its run on Netflix. So originally, it premiered in 2011 on Cartoon Network and then moved to Netflix. But The Problem Solvers, which was originally produced by Cartoon Network Studios, and finally came to an end, was canceled on this date in 2013 fully. So with that, I thank you guys for being here tonight. I do have one more. Was going to probably save this announcement for tomorrow night. I may make it again tomorrow night, but tonight will be the last night that we will have an hour and a half of the Niche Newscast. I've been thinking about this, and starting on Monday, we're going to cut the Monday through Thursday shows. We're going to cut down to an hour. I just feel like there, with everything else going on and stuff like that, oftentimes there's not always enough news to cater to an hour and a half, and plus I think it'd be easier to get more people to come on if I just have just an hour show. We can maintain content that way, and people, and then and considering I know guys like Rick, and some others have shows that either start at 7 or going through 7. I feel like so starting on Monday, April the 3rd, the Mikestand, the Monday through Thursday shows will be 1 hour. We'll do maybe 2 or 3 these articles, and we'll still do, of course, everything else, the wrestling wrap up and wrestling wrap up, and then the this day in each history. So we'll probably be trying to finish up right around 7, right at or just after 7, Monday through Thursday. Now, of course, the weekend edition on Sunday and the historical comic retrospect on Fridays will still be 2 hours. So we're just basically cutting back from 10 hours a week to 8 hours. Cutting out that extra half hour. So I hope you guys will enjoy coming in, and Austin did the job for The Rock. Respect. Yep, on his way out there. So with that, guys, I thank you all for being here tonight. And don't forget tomorrow night. Speaking of the historical comic retrospect, RJ Carter from Critical Blast will be my co-host, as we will be introducing you guys to Lev Gleason. As we continue our coverage of September 1939, we'll be talking a little bit about the formation of Lev Gleason Publications, also known as Your Guide Publications, and we'll be reading from Silver Streak, Volume 1, Number 1. And some interesting names, that you guys will find there will sound familiar, but they're not necessarily the same people that you think. So that will be something to behold. And of course, this Sunday we'll be back with our. I don't have to go look up the match. I don't have to go look up the match sometime. I mean the opposite. I want to see that. All right. Well, with that, thanks, Woody, for sticking around, getting my view count up, and keeping the average count up. And I thank you guys for the like and the share. Hopefully, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.